My name is Sarah, and we are going to dive in and focus on gratitude today. So, we're going to do a little bit of a recalibration in ourselves. The messaging that's coming through is very much about extremes and how, when we are working on things in our bodies or in what we want out of life, we can look at something that we want and we can work really hard to get to it. And we can push ourselves and we can strive. And sometimes we actually take ourselves out of alignment by doing this because we're just working so hard with this one end goal that we've actually kind of lost sight of ourselves and why we were even working in that direction. I find a lot of the times, we want things out of life, like we want to have an easeful life, we want to have an enjoyable life. And there are certain things that we kind of associate with having an enjoyable life, and that can be health and that can be money. And so then we can ensure there's other things, but let's just kind of stick to those two big key things that people tend to experience hyperfixation on. And so when we're focused on those things, we can sometimes think, when I get money, then I'm going to have that joyful, happy life. That's not true. It's a big part of life is learning that in the process, in the smaller moments are where you want to be able to access that joy. And you don't want to have it be dependent on anything other than you and what you can provide and create for yourself each moment. And so that shouldn't include an external factor. But a lot of times we have it include external factors and we can get very fixated on that external factor bringing us our joy or bringing us whatever it is that we are seeking, that connection, that love, that feeling of gratitude within ourselves. So what we want to do is we want to be gracious and we want to be grateful to ourselves for having that perspective and for sometimes going into these extremes because they can help propel us in a certain direction that we want to be moving in. At the same time, we want to acknowledge that when we're moving in a certain direction and we catch ourselves in this extreme, there's a way for us to course correct that can be very gentle and very nuanced, rather than it having be us bouncing from extreme to extreme, because that can be very detrimental to our system. And it can just be exhausting. It can also feel very defeating, because in a sense, it feels like you're just kind of flipping a switch from one way of being to the next. And you're just going back and forth when really what you're wanting is this moment by moment daily lifestyle change. And you're not wanting to live in these extreme realms. So we're going to go in and we're going to assume because we're all human. And so we all have this natural tendency to go into an extreme, whether it's, wanting to read a certain amount of books in a year. And so you set a structure for yourself of how you're going to do that. And then maybe you're so hyper focused on meeting that goal and having that structure and staying to it that you're forgetting that, reading is something that you want to do because you want to just raise, maybe it's you're looking for a connection with other people. So you're looking for empathy through stories. And then at that time that you're, taking to read, you're actually turning your back on an experience where you could have that direct empathy and connection in person. So that's why knowing the intention of why we're doing something is so important. So I want you to take a moment, just think about in your life, if there's anything that you have started, maybe a new habit, or maybe it's a habit that you've done in the past and you just re-embarked on. And just thinking about how that habit feels to you right now, why you're doing it. It could be you started a new exercise program or you started running or the way you're eating, and just think about it and just, bring it into your being and sit with it and ask yourself, are you being restrictive? Are you, and restrictive and discipline can go hand in hand, right? So are you being disciplined in this new practice, in this new habit? And is perhaps that discipline bringing in resistance to some other things? And it's okay if nothing's coming up. We're going to do some energy work now to kind of play around with this theme of being in an extreme and gradually working our way back to kind of more of a balanced state rather than going from extreme to extreme. So you can have in mind that thing if you have something in your life right now that you're aware of, or we're just going to open to that energy of us being human and knowing that humans tend to, especially in our current day and age, bounce from extreme to extreme. And we're going to see if we can maybe be in an extreme state or just be in that energy of extremism and gradually kind of get our way back to our balance, to our center. So when we start energy work, it is nice to connect with our inner column of light. And breath can be a really nice way to do that. So just breathing into your body, filling up your belly, making it really big, and then breathing out and feeling your belly kind of close in, feeling your ribs kind of come together and your abs come engaged. And then breathing in, opening up, and then breathing out, and again, kind of connecting to that ab connection. And as you're breathing, you can keep your eyes open or close them, but it's going to be more helpful to have your eyes in a relaxed state rather than having them focused and working around the room where you are. You want to be present in your body and in this experience. So I'm going to close my eyes because that's comfortable for me, but you're welcome to find a soft gaze on the floor or at something in front of you. A meditative gaze is just allowing your eyes, almost it's like you're zoning out. So you're zoning into whatever that thing is and allowing your body to have this experience that doesn't need to involve sight of the external realm around you. It may feel good to sit up against a wall to kind of have that support and also that backing so you know nothing's going to approach you from behind, but do what's going to work best for you. And you can pause this to kind of set yourself up and then come back to it. But we're going to start, if you are able to, with your body. And if you're not, you can just think about this happening. You can just think about your hands gently tapping on your chest. If it is something that you can do, then go right ahead and take your fingertips or any part of your hand. You could use knuckles. You can use the back of the hands. Use what is accessible to you. And you're just going to gently tap while remembering to breathe. Beautiful. And then you can shake your hands off if you would like. Flick the fingers, and then just settle those hands on your body. I'm putting mine right on my knees. I have my legs kind of crossed, but more so just stacked on top of each other. And then my hands are resting on my knees. And I am visualizing this column of light that runs all the way through my core. This channel of light that runs through me that is kind of like my access point here on this earth, or really is my access point. And I'm seeing what exists there. If any colors show up, if any feelings show up, just acknowledging that I have this energy force flowing through the center of me all the time. And that energy that's flowing through that center of me is my essence. So it's always there. And as we acknowledge that, seeing if you can bring any feelings of love or gratitude to that energy that is there for you. Without this energy, you wouldn't be here. Because we are, in fact, a human body within an energetic body, an energetic being that is us. And that energetic being came into existence far before our human physical body did. So just giving thanks to that ancestral wisdom, that just wise essence, that energy that has just always been with us. And now I want you to think about a bird building a nest or an animal building a home. Currently, right now, when I'm filming this, it is springtime in Maine where I am. And it's just about that season where you start to see little critters coming out and gathering things so that they can build their new homes for the spring and the summertime. And when they do this, you'll see a bird and you're not going to see them go and, grab these massive amounts of items and carry them at once, right? They have their little beaks. So they're going to grab one piece of grass at a time to build their nest. And we're going to play with that for a little bit. So right now I want you to see that there's nothing built yet. And then maybe you see this one little bird and they go over and there's this pile of straw. And they pick up a piece of straw with their beak and they bring it over to where nothing is existing. And they set down that one piece of straw. And then they're going to go back over and they're going to get a second piece of straw. They're going to bring that over to where they laid down the first piece of straw, and they're going to lay down that second piece of straw. Now, I want you to acknowledge what's going on in your body right now. Have you tensed up in any areas? How's your breathing? Is it still flowing or has it contracted? What does it feel like in your body when you bring your mind to this simple thought, to this simple visual? Can your mind stay with it? I know that bird is going for that third piece of grass, and they're picking it up, and they're bringing it over to the pile. And I think we know what's going to happen next. They're going to go and they're going to get that fourth piece of grass, piece of hay, grass, whatever it might be. And they're going to pick it up and they're going to bring it over to the pile. So we see how daily actions can be so gradual and simple, and how when we're building something, a new way of being, when we're inviting newness into our life, it takes this grace, it takes this tact, it takes this time. And so if you're like me and put your hand out, you might not have, but I've been kind of visualizing this bird building a nest, or at least laying the little pieces of grass and hay that they'll need to begin that construction on my hand. If you want, you can place your hands out or just visualize, or just kind of have that knowing. There's a bird's nest in your hand, there's a bird creating. And then you're going to put your hands on your body. And what this is you're thinking of creation on your hands, on your healing centers, and then you're bringing those healing centers, your hands, onto your body. And so you are actually gifting your body with that energy of creation. And when we're in an energy of creation, we can be very disciplined. We can also be very flexible and understanding and empathetic. We can be understanding of who we've been and what we've been through. We can be understanding of the days as they come. So rather than beating ourselves up when we don't pursue something in the way that we imagine that we would pursue it, we can understand why. Or not even understand why, but just know it's okay. And we can accept ourselves exactly as we are. You can join me. I'm going to take my hands and place them on my shoulders just so I can feel that weight of my hands, holding my shoulders down and bringing in a little swaying, turning from side to side. Breath again, filling up our belly and then feeling our belly deflate. We can go back to those little taps on our chest. And remembering that column of light that runs all the way through us and taking note of how it appears to you now. Resting your hands on your body. May you feel the love that runs all the way through you. May you feel the acceptance. May you feel that ability to be gracious with yourself, to be gentle. And know that the change, all the things that you want to be true can happen. And it's okay if they don't happen in an instant or in a moment. And they're not things you need to effort. They're things that will come to you easily when you are aligned and ready to receive them. So focusing more on your internal state and how you feel internally, because that's how you're going to get what you want externally. So be gentle with yourself, be soft, be slow. Allow things to reach balance again, and allow it to be a process of slowly gathering these little pieces of grass rather needing to jump from one to the next. We're not going to jump from extremes anymore. We're going to feel the extreme, acknowledge the truth of it, acknowledge the truth of where we want to be headed, and what we're really wanting. And then we're going to take gradual steps to get there. You feel the gratitude for yourself, for your being, for you being here on this planet in essence, and go forward in your day and share that energy of gratitude for the self with others simply by being in gratitude for you. Thanks for joining.